Welcome to We Day Han Su Up, The Great Minds. I'm James Cameron, and I'm a filmmaker, and I'm an explorer. The other thing that's interesting is, what is a movie? What is a movie? Is it, it's a linear story that's got a beginning, a middle, and an end? Okay, how is a movie that's made for streaming and only plays on streaming different than a movie that's made for a movie theater? It's not. It's the same thing, It's got main title and it's got credits at the end. It's got a whole bunch of stuff that happens in the middle, right? So if it's on streaming, there's no time boundary whatsoever. It could be a 6-hour movie. It could be a 10-hour movie. And you stop it and you go do something else and you come back. When people will sit and binge watch Breaking Bad for 8 hours straight, or in the case of my kids, The Walking Dead, for 8 hours straight. Oh, just one more episode. The length of an experience is really unbounded. So I think that the definition of what a movie is going to change. It has to do with attention span and interest and wanting to know what happens next. So Titanic was a 3-hour and 15-minute film. Avatar: Way of Water is a little over 3 hours. It's exactly the length that I set out to make, essentially. Now, if I'd been proven wrong when we screened the film for ourselves and it felt tedious, it would have been made shorter. I don't feel that. I don't think audiences will either. So I think that interest is the critical factor for the length of an experience. Am I interested in what's going on? Do I want to see what happens next? I can't just get up now and not see what happens to the characters. So I'm not worried about, is 3 hours too long? I'm worried about, what is the upper boundary? But I think the one thing that'll never change is we'll want to go to a movie theater for the following reason. And it's not something that's necessarily obvious. People are always talking about, being in a big room with strangers and all laughing at the same time gives us a common bond. Well, I think that's true. But there's something else that being in a big room full of strangers does for us. It's a social contract that says you're not going to do stupid stuff like talk or be on your phone or be distracted or be playing a video game at the same time or any of the other things that people do when they're watching streaming with their friends or their siblings or their family. Or pause it to go to the bathroom. Hey, is it okay if I pause? I got to go to the bathroom. No, it's not okay. That's not what, as a filmmaker, I made the movie for you to watch every frickin' frame. Now, that said, obviously people have biological needs. So anyway, the point is, it's about the social contract. You're going to get up and you're going to slink out and you're going to go pee and you're going to come back and the movie's going to move on. The movie and the time and tides wait for nobody. And that means that you don't have a remote. You can't stop it. You're not in control. And I think that's important. I think people want to not be in control. They want to choose their moment and their experience, and they want to go into a theater, and they want to have the movie be in charge of what's going to happen to them for the next 2 hours or 2.5 hours or whatever. And I think that that's a sacred experience that we're never going to give up. You can take people on a guided journey. They don't know where they're going. They don't know that's what's going to happen, but they get there, and that's tremendously satisfying. So that's the joy that I get at the end of the day, after all the insane hours and all the hardship and the years of work, et cetera, that go into every film. But it has to be more than that. You have to enjoy the moment of creation. You have to enjoy the day of every day. You work on a film. Titanic was 152 days of shooting. These 2 Avatar films that I'm just finishing now, 5 years of production. It can't all be about the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. It has to be fulfilling in the moment, and continue to be the wonder that it's always been in my life. It's still possible to be a great wonder. I mean, I've been looking at, we're re-releasing the first Avatar in September, and I'm looking at it on a daily basis, approving the 3D, and we have better projectors now, laser projectors that are so bright. It's almost mind-boggling how good a film can look these days. So much better than when we released Avatar only at this point 12 years ago. So it's still tremendously exciting. And nobody quite knows exactly where the business is going. That's a pitch I make to them. And you got to make some sense of it to you. I made $10 million. I'd just like to say thank you to audiences everywhere, not just for myself personally, although I love the fact that people enjoy my films and they're so kind for the most part in their commentaries, other than a bunch of trolls that are idiots anyway and they're all living in their mom's basement. Thank you for keeping cinema alive. Thank you for loving it. Thank you for loving the thing that I love, that I've loved since I was a kid, you know. Thank you for keeping that experience, the big screen experience, the cinema experience, alive. And thank you for loving the storytelling that's done with a camera and some actors and some lights, you know, because I don't think that's ever going to change. Come back 500 years from now, there's going to be a camera, there's going to be some actors, and there's going to be some lights. Now, there may be 10 other ways to tell stories at that point as well, but I don't think that's going anywhere. I don't think it ever will. So thank you for that.